Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. If anyone strikes you on the cheek, offer the other also. And from anyone who takes away your coat, do not withhold even your shirt. Give to everyone who begs from you. And if anyone takes away your goods, do not ask for them again. These words are hard, and if taken as a proof text without context, can be used to justify abusive relationships and a willingness to accept corruption, tyranny, and even genocide. It seemingly argues for an absolute pacifism, wherein one never stands up for oneself or for the weak and vulnerable with which one coexists. Just allow the strong, cruel, and dishonest to get their way and love them for it. But in the context of the entirety of the Bible, Christian and Hebrew scriptures, from the law and the prophets, the gospels and the letters, this interpretation rings false. As we heard very clearly and bluntly from Amos in Bible study this week, unless justice rolls down like water and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream, worship and praise of the one God is meaningless. How we treat one another is paramount. So to just accept injustice and abuse without recognizing it, naming it, and refuting it is not consistent with everything that comes before and after this passage. Jesus is not saying accept abuse in relationships or state-sponsored torture or violence is simply your lot in life because you love your abuser. Compassion might be a better reading than love. In the English language, love has come to take on this meaning of thoughtless devotion, giving oneself entirely to another and forsaking oneself for that other. Dangerous version of love at best of times, and not what Jesus meant. Compassion, in contrast, has this sense of caring for deeply, of having some sense of empathy for, but also in a way, pitying. Compassion is the love that we have for a small child or animal who is sick or injured, someone who is helpless and needs us to help them through their pain. An example of turning the other cheek, Jesus is saying, when someone hits you with the back of their hand to humiliate you because they can, offer them the other cheek to smack with the front of their hand. If they want to do violence to you because they can get away with it, force them to confront that by doing real violence. In the example of the coat, most people living in the Mediterranean world had three garments: a loincloth, a long shirt, and a coat. At night, rather than a blanket, many people would curl up under their coat. But at times, a person might pawn his coat in exchange for a loan to purchase food and other necessities until the harvest time. According to the law of Moses, this coat was to be given back at nightfall rather than kept for the season. Some unscrupulous people would keep the coat. What Jesus is saying is if someone is going to force you to shiver through the night without a coat to keep you warm, strip off your shirt. Let them see you shiver in the daytime as well. Force them to see your humanity and guilt them into doing the right thing rather than using violence against them. But to take this passive approach, to force someone to see your humanity, to accept violence against oneself without reacting, as was done in the studied calm and self-assuredness by Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Gandhi, and countless others, takes first seeing the humanity of the other. It requires seeing that in each and every other person, no matter how broken, corrupted, and disfigured, the image of God is still present. To drive another to have compassion for you takes first having compassion for them. It takes learning to pity those who hurt you. They do not know any better. Their hearts have become so hardened and their minds so self-centered that they cannot see you as a person. And they cannot see the harm that they are causing, not just to you, not even primarily to you, but to themselves and to their relationship with God. When we learn to recognize how those who hurt us are hurting themselves more, we can also learn to have compassion for them and, in due course, to forgive them. But again, this forgiveness is not about words. It is first and foremost about accepting the other's brokenness as part of their humanity and about letting go of a hurt that can become more of an obsession and destructive force in the life of the victim than in the life of the perpetrator. It is about letting go of the hurt to rebuild one's own life free from that pain, anger, and resentment. It can also be about building a new relationship together, about the offending party seeking to truly make amends and the person they hurt seeing this change and accepting the other's human brokenness as their own. It's about truly loving one another and doing good to those who hate you, about helping those that hurt you the most rebuild their relationship with God and neighbor. Amen.